There's definitely no shortage of mechanical keyboards that are available for Mac, and if you're a fan of picking one off of the shelf at your local Best Buy, Logitech is usually going to be the easiest choice to go with. They have a lot of options to choose from, and they also have different variations at different price points available as well. And recently they actually launched a new update to their G915 board, which I tried out a couple of years ago, and back then I actually thought it was going to be, or it was, my favorite low profile mechanical keyboard. But since then I have actually tried a variety of different low profile mechanical keyboards, because that category has actually been expanding these past couple of years. And even though they are not all available at your local Best Buy, you can still get them pretty quickly if you go through Amazon rather than going through their own website. But how does this G915X stack up against the competition? Well, actually, it's one of the most improved keyboards that I have ever seen from a larger mainstream company. One of the largest changes is that the keycaps are actually now double shot PBT. This means they're going to be a lot more resistant against the oils in your fingers as you use your keyboard. Especially coming from a Mac, I'm sure you have seen some of the Mac keyboards out there and how they become glossy after extended amounts of use. This change also brought some texture to the keycaps, which I personally actually like. The switches used are also now in the classic MX stem style, which means that the keycaps are easily changeable with other keycap options. Logitech themselves don't really sell keycap replacements, but you can find tons of other ones on Amazon that will be compatible. Unfortunately, the switches are not hot swappable, which means that you cannot remove them and exchange them with others as well, which honestly is expected from Logitech since the MX mechanical branch of keyboards are also not hot swappable. The other major update is that just like Apple, this keyboard now also has been upgraded to USB-C charging. This is actually a huge change because the previous G915 was a $230 keyboard that had micro USB charging in 2024. Also, with the updated switches and keycaps, the G915X no longer rattles when you shake it, which is a huge step forwards to making it feel more premium rather than cheap plastic. Other than that, the other design features and choices remain the same from the previous G915. You still have the brushed aluminum base, which actually makes it still look a little bit more premium and adds just a little bit of weight. Having this as the bottom of the keyboard also makes the footprint pretty large on the desk, which if you're getting a full-size keyboard anyways, you should already be ready to take up more space on the desktop. The RGB lighting is still pretty bright, and the black keycaps on the dark gray brushed aluminum really make the colors pop. The scroll wheel still has a nice scroll feel and still isn't tactile. And you also get the regular height adjustment just like other keyboards through the feet on the back. And you also have now a space to carry the USB receiver so that you don't lose it. The biggest part of the marketing though is that it's now 23 millimeters thin, which maybe it's just me, but it's not as impressive as they're making it out to be. I mean, it's definitely the lowest I have ever seen a mechanical keyboard, especially the low profile ones. But when you have it flat on your desk, this is the only way it can be 23 millimeters. If you use any of the feet, it becomes a little bit more like all of the other keyboards out there that already come with a pre-built typing angle on the case itself. The typing feel of the G915X is also pretty similar to the MX mechanicals, which makes sense because they do come from the same parent brand. But both of these keyboards actually fall just a little bit short of the more custom low profile mechanical keyboards, and I think that's because the Logitech ones are not made for the enthusiast, and therefore they don't really include any of the foams or the sound tuning that some of these other companies spend to make the keyboards sound just as great. Here's a typing test of the tactile G915X and a comparison to a normal profile tactile switch and also to another linear low profile more custom mechanical keyboard. And just a quick reminder that if you guys are enjoying the video, make sure you guys leave a like down below to let me know. And if you guys are loving the content, make sure you guys get subscribed to not miss any of my future honest reviews. Now let's get back to the video. When it comes to the connectivity of the G915X, you still have similar options as you did before. You can connect it via Bluetooth, you can use a USB receiver, or you can also use it wired. And now on Mac, you can actually use the G-Hub software to customize the keyboard. This is similar how you would use Logi Options Plus to customize the regular MX keys. The only difference is that the G915X now allows full customization of any key on this keyboard, including the alphas and numbers. The only part that is actually not customizable is going to be the scroll wheel and then some of the other quick options as well. And if the full customization isn't enough, you also now have 10 different macro keys that you can set up however you want on the 915X. I'm going to be honest, as someone that edits videos on my Mac and I use my right hand for the mouse, these macro keys on the left are highly useful when I'm editing, and they're the main reason that I really liked the G915 keyboard a couple of years ago. This actually makes the 915X both a full-size keyboard and a macro pad, as long as you like the way the macro buttons are set up here. And I really have to applaud Logitech here for this, because I usually don't trust keyboards that are not VIA compatible, because Mac OS is usually forgotten when it comes to software compatibility, but the G-Hub software having full customization of any key is a huge step forward, and now only Linux users are being left out. This keyboard can be a do-it-all keyboard with multiple connection options if you have multiple devices that you need. I'm not a PC gamer myself, but with a work Mac and an editing Mac, I can see myself setting up 2 different profiles so that I can use one for work and one for my video editing. You can also set up a gaming profile and remap the keys how you would like for gaming as well. I've actually heard that it's a good idea to gray out or disable the keys that could take you out of the game if you are someone that has ever accidentally exited out of your game. The G915X is like the gaming version of the MX Mechanical. You are paying an extra $70 to add gaming compatibility, macro keys, a scroll wheel, and full customization, which makes it an easy recommendation over the MX Mechanical if you can save up a little bit extra cash. Just like the MX Mechanical keyboard though, it still has some drawbacks. The main one is that it still comes short in terms of the sound and the feel of the mechanical keys when compared to other more niche keyboards out there. I know, most people probably don't care, but if you can do without the macro keys and scroll wheel, there are other full-size low-profile keyboards out there that sound a lot better. With the 915X, you even get some spring ping, which if you're sensitive to it like myself, it will bother you over time. Other keyboards will also come in at roughly half of the price of this one, which if you're on a budget, that will be a better option anyway. And that's the second drawback. Logitech always charges really high for their mechanical keyboards. Even the MX Mechanical comes in on the higher end of $100 when the competitors are closer to the lower end of $100. For the keyboards at this price, even though it looks really premium with the aluminum top, it does feel like a lot of other low profile mechanical keyboards, a little bit cheap. I think it does have to do with the weight and how light it is. Even though it does have that aluminum top, it still feels very plasticky and very fragile to carry around. And even if you don't want to change the switches down the road as well, with them not being hot swappable, it still has a limited lifespan in terms of the switches going out at some point and you not being able to replace them. For a keyboard that costs over $200, that should have been an easy solution to include hot swappable switches for those that do in fact want to switch them out later down the road or just like to tinker around with different switch feel. The alternatives out there, especially now for Mac users, offer most of the features of the 915X at a more affordable price. Companies like Newfie, Keychron, Lowfree all have low profile options that are hot swappable, VIA compatible, and also offer multiple connection options. You're literally getting 90% of the G915X at 50% of the price. That extra 10% comes down to the macro keys, the scroll wheel, and well, you also can just drive down to Best Buy and pick one straight off the shelf. And those macro keys for me are really useful when it comes to video editing. What are your guys' thoughts? Is this a keyboard that you were thinking of picking up this holiday season? Let me know down in the comments. As always, thank you guys for watching. Click here to watch another one of my videos, and I will catch you guys on the next one.